Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're ranking every single starting small forward in the NBA. You see me do it with the point guards. You see me do it with the shooting guards. Now we are there with the small forwards. You saw from the title. You saw from the thumbnail. Let's get straight into it. Before we get into the video, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new because we are posting daily and you don't want to miss out. And also comment down below where you would have put these small forwards if you agree or disagree with any of my takes. You know what's going on. You've seen the other two videos, and if you haven't already, they are there just a couple days ago. I posted them, so go check those ones out. Let's get straight into it. So the first person we are rating is Michael Porter Jr. I'm putting MPJ into B tier. He is a good three-point shooter. He's got one of the best releases in the NBA. If he gets the ball, he is shooting it. As simple as that. That is his rule. He gets the ball, he is shooting the ball. Otherwise, he's fine. He's decent. A little inconsistent, especially in the playoffs. He wasn't really that good. He wasn't really a key factor with the Nuggets winning. But I still like MPJ. He's a good three-point shooter. He doesn't really do much else, but he scores 17 points a game, so I'm going to give him B tier. Next, we have Kyle Anderson. I'm putting Kyle Anderson in C tier. He just isn't that good. He also had a lot of drama with Rudy Gobert, like that push thing. He's had a lot of. He's just not that good. He's probably the worst position for the Timberwolves that they need to fix the most. He's just mid. Kyle Anderson, average C, not that good. Next, we have Shannon Sharpe. This is one of the rookies from last year. It's kind of hard to rate because I really do like this guy for the future. I mean, he's got really good athleticism, has a really good build, and he's a great rim finisher. The problem is he wasn't that good at shooting, and he didn't even average 10 points this season. So I'm going to put him in C ahead of Kyle Anderson for now. I do like him, though. I think he's got potential. Just can't rate him too high because last year wasn't the most insane year. But he also had like 10 posters in 1 year, so he might even have to go higher. Next up, we got Lu Dort. This is kind of hard because he's one of the best defenders in the league, or he could be one of the best defenders in the league. But points-wise, he doesn't do much. I'm going to put him in D tier, and I know that might shock some people. I do like him. I think he's super underrated. It's just he doesn't do much besides defend. So if he's not, I mean, maybe he could pass a little bit, but if he's not defending, he's not really doing much on the floor. So I'm going to put him in D tier because you need to do multiple things to get up any higher. He only defends. Next up, we have a new trade acquisition. If you didn't see today, John Collins got traded for Rudy Gay. It was because of a contract thing. John Collins, I think, is going to be the new small forward for the Jazz because obviously Laurie is going to be the power forward. Walker Kessler is going to be the center, so it makes sense if John Collins was the small forward. I'm putting John Collins in low B behind MPJ. John Collins isn't bad, but he did have a down year last year. He actually was probably like an A tier, maybe like 2 years ago. He's definitely fallen off. He wasn't as good. And his contract was horrible. That's the reason why the Hawks wanted to get rid of him. But I think he's going to be decent for the Jazz. The fit's a little bit weird because he's a power forward, but Lowry's there. So it's like, it's a bit interesting. It's a really, really big lineup now, but I don't mind it. John Collins, B tier. Next week, Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins is the prime B tier player. I would put him ahead of MPJ and John Collins. Here's the reason why. Versatility. Like, Andrew Wiggins is actually a very, very solid three-point shooter, and he can also defend really well. And he's a speed threat. He's got good athleticism. He hits some mean posters. He's overall a fun player to watch. He was an all-star. I mean, 2 years ago he was an all-star, but he's just not as good anymore. But I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's a solid. He's like the epitome of a solid basketball player. Next we have LeBron James. Ooh, you saw from the thumbnail. I put him in trash. Where am I gonna put him now? No, I'm kidding. Of course he's S tier. He's probably still a top 10 player in the NBA. Obviously, he is not as good as in his prime. He still averaged 27 a game this year, though, so he's definitely not bad. I still think he's probably the second best small forward in the league, just behind one person. We'll talk about him later. But yeah, LeBron James is great. I mean, you could say that his age is starting to catch up to him, but he's still one of the best players in the league. Probably, in my opinion, he's like number 7 in the league. Next up, we have Harrison Barnes. I want to put Harrison Barnes in the top of C tier. He's not bad. He's just fine. He's decent. He does everything very decently. He actually had a pretty decent year and was a key piece in the Kings being the 3 seed, but he also just isn't that good. Like, he's getting older in age. He can once in a while get you like a 30-point game night for him, but he's just the definition of an average player. Next up, we have Josh Okogie, F tier. Like, I guess you could say Katie's gonna be the small forward, but I think Katie's gonna be the power forward, DeAndre Ayton center. And when I looked it up, I think Josh Okogie is gonna be the starting small forward. F tier, nobody cares about him. He's the most irrelevant piece of the Suns, so I don't really care about him. F tier. He only averaged like 6 points a game this year, so F tier. Next, we have Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard is still S tier. I know the injuries are scary. I know injury wise, he's just not that good because he never can stay healthy. But Kawhi Leonard is still Kawhi Leonard. Maybe the best defense in the league. He can also score at a really good rate. And dude, if you're one on one against him, he is taking you every single time. Kawhi Leonard S tier. I know the injuries maybe want you to put you down into like A tier, but I still think Kawhi Leonard's S tier because he's so versatile, and if it wasn't for injuries, he'd be a top 10 player in the league, in my opinion. Next up, we have Dillon Brooks. I mean, I still have him on for the Memphis Grizzlies as a starter, but obviously the Grizzlies don't want to have him there. But for now, he technically is still the starter. Dillon Brooks is D tier. I don't care about Dillon Brooks. I think his attitude, I'll put him ahead of Lou Dort, but I think his attitude makes him a D tier. As a player, he's probably C, but honestly, with how he acts and how he doesn't, just the mocking and just he thinks he's so good and he's just not. D tier for Dillon Brooks. Next, we have Brandon Ingram. This will be the first A tier. He's honestly so close to S, it's unreal, but I just can't put him there. Average 24 a game, didn't quite make the All-Star team, but he's still an amazing talent. He's a really, really good, underrated small forward. I mean, he does everything. He can score, he can pass, he can do everything at a very, very solid level. And with Zion out, he kind of, was the main piece of the Pelicans and was a big piece for them as well. So A tier, not quite S tier. We need to see more of a playoff resume for him, but also the Pelicans haven't really been in the playoffs. So for now, I'm putting him in A tier. Next up, we have Tim Hardaway. It's another C tier, in my opinion. I would say he's probably better than Kyle Anderson, not quite better than Shaden Sharp. He's the definition, again, of just average. He's fine. He probably shouldn't be a starter, though, for the Mavs. They just don't have a lot of options in that position. He still was decent, though. He averaged like 10 points this season, so I wouldn't say he's bad, just he's nothing special, and more as a bench player, in my opinion. Next, we have Kellen Johnson. I'm putting Kellen Johnson in B tier. He's close to A. I mean, he's not obviously A, but he averaged like 23 this year. I put him at the top of B. He's a very, very underrated small forward in the league, just because he's playing in the Spurs. But now that Wemby's next to him, there's a chance that he gets a little bit more action, or at least gets noticed more, even if he doesn't score as many points. I'm gonna put him in B tier for now because I do really like him. I mean, he averaged 22 a game this year, so very underrated in my opinion. Kellen Johnson goes in B tier. Next up, we have. So I'm gonna do the two Thompson twins right now. We have Sar and Amen. Both I think are gonna be stars of the 4 and the 5 pick in the draft. Here's my rating for them. If it's a rookie and it's not Wemby, then I don't watch rookie tape enough. We haven't seen them in the regular season, but I can tell you that Wemby's gonna be better than the C tier. But I think that any rookie besides Wemby is gonna go in C tier because we haven't gone to see him play. We'll put him at the bottom for now, and we might as well just put Brandon Miller also in C tier. And I know all the rookies going in C tier, yes, because we haven't gone to see them play. We don't know how good they're gonna be. They could end up being B or A or S later in the season. They could have having insane years, but we haven't gone to watch them play in the NBA. We don't know how they're gonna change from college basketball to NBA basketball. So for now, C tier, they're definitely gonna get higher. I'll probably do like a postseason same list of this, and you're gonna see the differences. But for now, they're all rookies. I'm putting them in C tier. Next we have Jason Tatum. Yeah, this is pretty easy. In my opinion, the best small forward in the league. Unless you're talking about Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant's not a small forward, and also I don't think he's better than Jason Tatum. But Jason Tatum averaged 30 points 30 points this season. He's, in my opinion, the sixth best player in the game. He's so close to top five. One of the best players, can score, can pass really well, has underrated defense, and is one of the best all-around players in the NBA. So without a doubt, Jason Tatum S tier. The dude's unreal. Next up, we have Dorian Finney-Smith, probably D tier. Like, I would put him ahead of Dillon Brooks and Lou Dort because I do like Dorian Finney-Smith. He just realistically is getting a little bit older, and he really realistically just isn't a starter anymore. I like Dorian. He's just not a starter. He's more like a seventh man, in my opinion, or just a bench player. He's a solid bench player, though, like a good bench player. But he's D tier for being a starter. Next up, we have OG Anunoby. You don't understand how much I want to put this guy A tier. I really, really do. I just can't. I don't think he's better than Keldon, but I'd put him ahead of Andrew. I do like OG a lot. Really good perimeter defense. Can also score decently. Can pass. And again, the defense carries. Was on target for being Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, didn't get it, but he was a main candidate for it. And he's overall the definition of a very, very solid player, especially for the Toronto Raptors. Next, we have RJ Barrett. He did average 20 points a game this season. I think he deserves B tier. I would put him around this category. I think I'm going to put him there but in front of MPJ behind Andrew Wiggins. And I know some people are gonna be mad. They should be saying he should be lower, but he did average 20, so he's not that bad. It's just for the number one overall pick, he's not that good either. He's not good. He's not great, especially for being as highly rated as he was. He wasn't even the number one overall pick, but I think he was the number three overall pick. But yeah, he hasn't been that good. So B tier for RJ Barrett. Next we have Tobias Harris. I'm putting Tobias Harris in C tier, I think. I'll put him like near the top of it, probably I'll put him at the top of C tier because I do think he is still a good scorer. He just is getting older, just similar to a guy like Harrison Barnes. He's just getting older, and he's turning into more of an average player. Again, not a bad player to have in the starting lineup, but he's more of a role player than anything else. A C tier for Tobias Harris. Next we have Chris Middleton. I'm putting Chris Middleton in A tier. I know some people are going to be mad saying Chris Middleton's not an A tier player. He has been injured a ton. When he's healthy, he's arguably a top 10 small forward in the league, and I think everyone can say that without a straight face, or with a straight face. I think Chris Middleton is a super underrated player, not only as a scorer, but as a defender as well. Super versatile. I know he gets injured similar to Kawhi Leonard. It's a scary thing. I still like the dude, though. I'm putting him in A tier. Next will be DeMar DeRozan. I think I'm going to put DeMar DeRozan at the top of A tier. I know he had a bad year this year. I mean, not even that bad. He averaged 24, and he was an all-star. So me putting him A tier isn't even a realistic statement. But because of last year, this year wasn't as good. I mean, he averaged like 30 last year, or 2 years ago. So DeMar, he's definitely had a bit of a drop off, but I would still put him A tier because he still made an all-star team. He still averaged 24, and he was the reason why the Bulls even made the play, in my opinion. So DeMar S A tier, one of the best mid-ranges in the game. Next, we have Bennedict Mathurin, another rookie. It's kind of hard to rate him. He did average 17, but he really cooled off near the end of the season. He started off insanely hot. It's between high C and low B, but I think I'm gonna give him some respect and put him low B because he had a really good start. And he still averaged 17 a game, so I put him low B. He's not gonna get ahead of any of those guys above him, but I still like Bennedict Mathurin. I think he's gonna be a good rookie for the Indiana Pacers coming up. Next up, we have Isaac Okoro. This is a little bit tougher. I don't know exactly how to rate him. He's not bad. He's just not that good. I kind of want to put him top of D tier. Again, not horrible. He just isn't he isn't a starter. He's similar to Dorian Finney-Smith, where he's more of a bench player. He just isn't a starter, but he's not horrible. But he's the worst player on the Cavs starting lineup for sure. Next will be Bogdan Bogdanovic. I actually don't know if he's going to start or not. I'm going to say that he is because it's going to be Trae Young at the 1, DeJounte Murray at the 2, and then him at the 3 because obviously John Collins got traded. You could say it's going to be like Rudy Gay, but it's not going to be Rudy Gay. So I'm going to put Bogdan Bogdanovic. And honestly, he's a really good scorer. I'm putting Bogdan in C tier around the middle of it. It doesn't really matter where you put him. He's just, again, a fine average player, but he's a good scorer. So I'll give him C tier. I'll give him some respect. Next will be Jimmy Butler. I'm putting Jimmy Butler in S tier. I would say he's ahead of Kawhi, not ahead of LeBron. And here's the reason why. Obviously, didn't probably have a good season like Kawhi did, but playoff Jimmy's playoff Jimmy, and he carried the Heat to the finals. So he's automatic S tier. He's just that good. Next up, we have two left. We have Franz Wagner. I'm putting Franz in B tier. Very, very underrated. I'd put him around this Andrew Wiggins level, probably a little bit above Andrew, not ahead of, I don't think OG, but I really do like Franz Wagner. I do like him a lot. I think he's a good underrated defender. He can also score really, really well. I mean, I think he might have averaged 20 points this season. And he's overall one of the best versatile players. And it's always a big piece, especially if you're being a 6'10 small forward. Like, that is super, super key. And I really do like Franz. I would put him B tier. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league, at least the small forward position. And last but not least, we have Deni Avdija, F tier. I don't care. I'll put him above Josh Okogie because Josh Okogie I don't even know. Deni Avdija I've heard of, but he's horrible. I mean, I think he was a high draft pick and he just never turned out. Like, I think he averaged like 9 points a game last season, and the Wizards are going to suck this year, so he's even going to get worse. So without a doubt, F tier. And that's me ranking every single small forward in the NBA starting edition. Not even starting. We're every single starting small forward in the NBA. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below where you would have put in these small forwards yourselves. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!